Banking is changing fast in Asia, and innovation has different drivers there than in North America and Europe. Well, to update us on what is happening in Asia, I'm delighted to say that we are joined by Lisa Robbins. Now, Lisa is the Global Head of Transaction Banking at Standard Chartered. Lisa, welcome so much to Sibos TV.
Thank you very much.
And take us through these trends. What is happening in Asia?
Lots of interesting things happening on the trade, cash, and security services side. First of all, China and the emergence of OBOR, One Belt, One Road, is driving change throughout the region in terms of changing trade patterns. Second thing we're seeing is, along with that, the emergence of Bond Connect, moving Bond Connect, meaning that the capital is flowing into China, or the capabilities to allow capital to flow into China are being developed in a more efficient method. Second, on the cash and trade side, we're seeing the emergence of real-time payments, fostered by governments wanting real-time to ensure that the systems are safe and sound. So we're looking at, in Singapore, in Thailand, in Vietnam, around Asia, and here in Australia, real-time payments have taken off.
So in what way, or what would you say are the key differences between Asia, Europe, and indeed North America? Clearly, there are big differences.
Well, there are big differences just in the nature of the populations. One, we have a very young population in Asia. In some countries, maybe an aging population, but in general, we see a young, growing demographic, a middle class, a very, very technology-enabled population with, actually, in many countries, we've leapfrogged the legacy systems that exist in North America and in Europe. So it is a great ground, a great fertile territory for the development and launch of new technologies and the adoption of new technologies. Think about, I don't know about you, but I have a daughter who's a millennial, and actually she uses her PDA for almost anything. And that is actually really accentuated in spades here in Asia.
And what role are the regulators playing in this? Because yes, you've got the youngsters who are very innovative, but what about the regulators in Asia? Is that shared? Are they also quite innovative?
Well, we see different things happening in different parts of Asia. So take Singapore, where I'm actually based. Singapore has really fostered the development of digitalization through their concept of smart nation. We also see that in India. A few years ago at Sibos, we were talking about demonetization. Well, demonetization, in many respects, was a government-instituted policy that actually triggered the development of the digital rails on which many fintechs have developed. And so we could go around the region, you'll see that the regulatory imperative to drive digitalization has really taken off in a big way.
Okay, so you've got clued up regulators, and what about consumers? Because obviously their expectations from banks are changing, so what do they want?
Well, consumers, think about yourself. How often do you go to a bank? Bricks and mortars. Not as much. We want to do everything very quickly on our smart devices, and we want to do it now, real time, with access. And so we choose institutions that have the best interfaces. The same is happening on the wholesale side.
And of course, you can't rule out the fintechs in the equation as well. So where are the fintech hotspots in Asia? If you had to identify the Silicon Valleys, are they quite evident?
Oh, I think there are quite a few Silicon Valleys. In fact, because it's such a fertile ground for innovation, and because that legacy just isn't here, we're seeing the growth and fostering of great innovation in the region. China. Actually, interestingly, the big platform businesses like Alibaba, Tencent, et cetera, are all places where we're seeing great development in the fintech, or in many respects now called tech-fin sector, and they're launching into the financial sector. India, amazing development in India. Think from the very beginning of the Aadhaar, which is the biometric, all the way through to some of the exciting real-time credit initiatives, credit evaluation initiatives, and I could go on. So let's say India, China, Greater Bay Area, Shanghai area, as well as in Singapore and others. I would hasten to say that there's no one Silicon Valley. And I think many countries are approaching this in many different ways.
So there are quite a few to keep an eye on, really.
Quite a few to keep an eye on, which makes my life interesting.
And in terms of the fintechs, I mean, how are they collaborating with the banks? Because clearly there is this urge to deliver new services, and obviously there's an appetite for them.
Well, you know, at one point, I think a few years ago, it was fintech or bank. I think it's fintech and bank. We actually work very closely together. In many respects, we are co-creators. We understand our clients. We have, as banks, we understand clients. We understand what our clients' needs, and we look at the whole value chain. And we work very, very closely with fintechs to ensure that we aren't having solutions chasing problems that don't exist, but solutions that are really focused on the problems that our clients need. And together we've fostered a lot of very interesting innovations.
I mean, it's an extraordinary backdrop that is happening around us, and given all of these factors, where does that leave the role of banks in society? Because clearly that traditional model, it can't stay as it is.
Well, I think our role in society is a really critical one. Think about financial inclusion and the role of bringing technology to enable financial inclusion across Asia, across Africa. Working together with fintechs, we can deliver solutions that help to foster financial inclusion, foster education, and a whole host of things that will make our societies better. By the same token, we do have a role as technology comes into the equation more and more and digitalization occurs to make sure that we are training and tooling people for the jobs of the future. And we have to do that together.
Absolutely. And of course, you need to have a culture. The culture is really important inside the banks themselves to get that innovation, to drive it along. So what can banks themselves do to have that innovative culture, to tap into what's there?
Well, I think in our case, we've established SC Ventures, which works alongside the businesses to create an opportunity for entrepreneurs within the bank to foster their ideas and develop them. By the same token, within the businesses, we're looking at how we can get people really enthusiastic and welcoming exponential change, because it makes their jobs more interesting. You have two approaches. You can do it the same as it's been done forever, and actually forever is a shorter period of time, or you can look at the excitement and curiosity that is required in this new world and develop people in that way.
Sound advice. It sounds like you're going to be very busy over the next few years as well.
I think, look, I've been in this business for a long time. The speed of change is getting shorter and shorter. And that's what makes this interesting. It's no longer just 4 boxes on the back of an envelope. Okay. And that it's now about looking across the platforms and how we all work together.
Yeah, watch this space.
Watch this space.
Lisa Robbins of Standard Chartered, thank you so much for talking to us here on Sibos TV. Thank you.